Hello and welcome to HooplaKidzLab, making science super fun and super simple. In this video, we're going to show you tea bag rockets. This is a really simple experiment. You'll need some tea bags, scissors, matches, and a mug. Firstly, take one of your tea bags. It's important that you use a certain type of tea bag, and we'll show you what we mean. Firstly, cut off any strings that you have attached, then pour out the tea into the mug. When you fold out the tea bag, you should be able to make a tube out of the material. Not all tea bags are like this, so look around for a good one. Then place it on a flat surface and take it outside. Stand it on its end, and then light the top. The material will burn down, and just before it goes out, it flies up into the air. This is because by the time it's nearly burnt away, the material that's left is so light it gets lifted on the heat of the flame. And there you have it. That's how you can make tea bag rockets. Hidden holes bottle prank. You're going to need some thumbtacks, a large bottle of water, and a permanent marker. That's it. Firstly, place your bottle on its side, and then write a tempting message, something that might make someone want to drink what's inside. We kept it simple. Do you think this will work? Once you've written your message, take your thumbtack and then turn your bottle over. Very carefully, make a few holes near the bottom of the bottle. As you do this, water will start to spray out of the bottle. So you will need to clean that up. However, when you turn the bottle back onto its proper end, you'll see that the water stops flowing out. This is a really curious trick, and we're going to use it to perform the rest of the prank. If we look up close, you'll see that if I squeeze the bottle very gently, water starts to come out again. But if I let go, nothing happens. And again, if you look closely, when I undo the lid on the bottle, water starts to come out of the bottom. When I screw the lid back on, the water stops flowing. I can even do this with one hand for you, just to prove that there is no trick. Now all you need to do is dry off your bottle and then place it on a kitchen counter where someone can come and try and drink it. Here he is now. Watch what happens. Oh no! The water's going everywhere, and he's got no idea why. Let's show you again, but with a little bit of food dye in the water, just to make this really clear. This experiment works because of the pressure in the bottle. The holes are so small that air can't get in as the water comes out, and so the pressure inside the bottle remains constant, unless you squeeze the bottle and force water out, or open up the lid and let air in. A boomerang can. You're going to need a rubber band, paper clips, a large can with a lid, a pair of scissors, a battery, and some strong tape. Firstly, take your can and turn it onto its end. Then, using your scissors, carefully make a small hole in the bottom of the can. It's best if you have an adult help you with this part of the process, as the scissors could be sharp and you need to be quite careful. The hole needs to be just big enough for your rubber band to fit through. Once that's done, check the hole is finished, then turn the can over and make a similar hole in the top of the can. Then take a small piece of your tape. It's best to use the strongest tape you can find. Lay your tape out on the table. Then place one half of your rubber band over the end, like this. Put the top of your battery over the rubber band so that it faces the middle of the tape. Then place the other half of the band under the tape and stick it down firmly. You can add some extra tape if you'd like to. When that's done, you can swing the battery around and you'll see that the band loops around itself. Then, very carefully, take one end of the rubber band and thread it through the hole that you've made in the bottom of the can. This is quite fiddly and might take a little time. Pull out a couple of inches of the rubber band, then slot one of your paper clips through the end and pull the rubber band tightly. This will hold the paper clip in place. Then stretch the rubber band towards the other end of the can and repeat the process with the hole in the lid. You might find this a bit tricky, but be patient. Carefully place your paperclip inside the rubber band and it will pull itself tight. Make sure that's firm and then check you have a flat surface. Then simply roll your can. You'll see that after a couple of feet, your can starts to roll back to you. This is a really cool trick. This happens because inside the can, the rubber band twists around itself until it reaches a point where it can't twist anymore and unrolls, pulling the can back with it. DIY macro lens. You're going to need a laser pen, a hairpin, a smartphone with a camera, some pliers and some sellotape. First, carefully use the pliers to remove the end from the laser pen. You can see what looks like a small glass bead in the end. This is in fact a very small lens. This is what focuses the laser in your laser pen, and we'll need it to make our macro lens. Then take your phone. Turn it over to see the camera. Then clip the lens from the laser pen into your hairpin. Place the lens directly in front of your phone's camera. Then use a piece of sellotape to hold the hairpin in place. Make sure it's secure. Then turn your phone back round and open up the camera. If you look through, everything will look very blurry. But this is where it gets really cool. Take something with a lot of detail in it, for example this £10 note. Hold the camera closer and closer to the object, and suddenly you'll see everything is in focus. Using the lens from the laser pen, you've created a macro lens. A macro lens allows cameras to see things really, really close and in great detail. For example, if we hold our lens very close to this £10 note, you'll see that the swirls on the money are actually made up of lots of the word 10. If you hold it close to the eye, you'll see there's lots of circles. You can try lots of other objects, like this 50p coin. It lets you see loads of detail. You can see hundreds of tiny scratches on the coin that you wouldn't normally be able to see. Why not try zooming in on your phone camera? This will allow you to look even closer. I love this trick because it's a really great way to take something you already have and make it even better. That's what you call a hack. If you like taking photos with your phone as much as I do, this will allow you to take loads of cool new pictures of things you wouldn't normally be able to see. Here are some photos that I've taken. You can see an incredible amount of detail. Look at those tiny dots. And look at this rusty screw. You can really see the tiny bits of damage. How do you fit a balloon into a bottle? You're going to need some balloons, a pin, a large plastic bottle, some tape, and a jug of water. Firstly, take your bottle and remove the cap. Then stretch out a balloon, place it inside the bottle, stretch it across the neck of the bottle, and then try to blow it up. As you can see, I found this part pretty difficult. This is because of the air trapped inside the bottle, creating pressure. However, if we use our pin to make a small hole in the bottom of the bottle, this will allow air to travel in and out. Now if you try to blow the balloon up, hey presto, it inflates. If you cover the hole, it stops it deflating, because the pressure inside the bottle is unable to change. This is a clever bit of science. But how do we get the balloon inside the bottle? Well, it's simple. We simply pour some water into the balloon. This will help it keep its shape. You can also use water balloons for this experiment if you don't have a normal balloon. Once you've poured enough water in, simply carefully tie off the neck and drop it inside the bottle. And now people will wonder how you ever got it in there in the first place. Musical glasses. You're going to need a beater, some food colouring, glasses, and a jug of water. First, take one of your glasses and add some food colouring. We used blue. Then pour a small amount of water into the glass. Use your beater to tap the glass and see what sound it makes. You can add more water to make a better sound. I decided to top up my glass almost to the very top. Then repeat this process with different colours of food colouring and add a slightly smaller amount of water each time. If you tap the glasses in order, you'll see that you can make a tune. This works because when you tap a glass using your beater, vibrations travel through it to create sound. By adding water to the glass, you change the speed of those vibrations, which changes the sound. Here's one of our favourite tunes. Isn't that great? Electric eels. You're going to need some gummy worms, a tall glass, a small glass, some vinegar, a spoon, baking soda, and a pair of scissors. Firstly, open up your packet of gummy worms. These worms tend to be quite thick, so for this experiment we decided to cut them in half. This makes them a little bit lighter, which will help perform a really cool experiment. Once you've cut a few of the worms in half, put a small amount of water inside your small cup, add a few tablespoons of baking soda, and then add each of the worms into the mixture. The aim here is for the worms to soak up some of the water and baking soda mixture. Stir the mixture around a bit with a spoon and then leave it to sit. While that's happening, fetch your tall glass and pour some vinegar inside. It's best to use clear vinegar as you can see what's happening inside the glass. We decided to fill it about 2/3 full. Once the worms have sat in the baking soda solution for 5 to 10 minutes, grab your worms and add them one by one into your vinegar mixture. You'll see that very quickly bubbles start to form. This is because baking soda reacts with vinegar, creating bubbles of gas, causing bubbles of gas to form on the outside of the worms. If enough gas bubbles catch onto the side of a worm, you'll see that it picks the worm up, floats it to the top, the bubbles burst, and then they drop down again. You can try different amounts of baking soda or vinegar to see how it changes the reaction. You can always throw a little bit more baking soda into the mixture if the reaction slows down, and it should speed it back up again. This is a really fun experiment and a great way to create your own electric eels. Magnetic black sand. You're going to need some rubber gloves, some goggles, a small container, cling film, a glass, some magnetite, and some magnets. Firstly, take a few spoonfuls of the magnetite and put it inside your container. Spread it out along the bottom of the container. Then, slowly, bring your magnets up against the other side of the container. You'll see that the magnetite is attracted to the magnets. As it gets attracted to the magnets, you'll start to see that it actually starts to look like black hair. Now let's have some fun. Take some cling film and wrap your magnets up in it. This will stop them from getting too dirty. Then dip your magnets inside the magnetite and pull it out. You'll see that it creates a really strange pattern. It looks like the magnets have grown a strange black fur. If you dip it in again, you'll see that the magnetite attracts to the whole magnet. This happens because magnetite is a mineral that contains iron. Iron is a metal that is attracted to magnetic fields, and so the magnetite is attracted to the magnets. You'll see that you're able to pull some of it off the magnet. However, the pull is so strong that you will never be able to get all of it off. You'll find as you're playing with it that very small amounts of magnetite transfer to the surface of your gloves and to the table. You can see that you're able to use it a little bit like a piece of chalk. If you swirl it around inside the container, you can make some really strange shapes. And observe how the magnetite behaves when you use the magnet in different ways. Make sure you're quite careful with this one, as it can create quite a mess. Homemade glow stick. It's really easy. All you're going to need is a mini LED light, a clear plastic pen, a 2032 or watch battery, and some sellotape. Remove any stickers from your battery so that the metal is exposed. Then slot your LED light around the side. Once it lights up, you'll know that it's on the right way round. Fit it around the sides of your battery. Then use a piece of sellotape to fix it firmly in place. Once that's done, unscrew your pen so that you have just the clear plastic casing. Slot your LED light inside, and then use some clear tape to fix the battery onto your casing. Once that's done, turn out the lights And there you are! You've got your very own glow stick. Glowing bubbles. You're going to need a small dish, a highlighter pen, some bubble liquid, and a pair of pliers. Make sure you have an adult to help you. Take the top off of your highlighter and use the pliers to pull out the tip of the pen. You might want to ask an adult to help you. Then take your bubble mixture and pour some into the dish. Use the pliers to squeeze the tip of the pen. This will help release more of the highlighter ink into the bubble liquid. Let it sit for a few minutes. Then fetch a black light. When you turn the black light on, you'll see that the mixture glows in the dark, as well as my lab coat. But what happens if we try blowing some bubbles? Well, as you can see, they glow in the dark as well, because the bubble mixture has absorbed some of the highlighter fluid, which glows under an ultraviolet light. If you spread some of the fluid out over a tabletop, in this case we've got a plastic coating on our table to stop any mess, you can see that the whole surface will glow. You can blow bubbles onto the surface and make some really cool structures. And there you have it. That's how you can make your own glowing bubbles.